Good afternoon, Flosstube. My name is Mandy. Welcome to my channel all about cross stitch. My pronouns are she, her. Today is Thursday, December 26th, 2024, and we are here for a WIP parade. I would like to also say that this is my 5th anniversary on Flosstube, so Flosstube anniversary. It was in 2019 that I posted my very first video here on Flosstube, and that was my WIP parade. So it would have been fun to go back and watch that and see, kind of how things have changed and everything, but I didn't do any of that. I can say though that there is one project that most likely would have been seen in that video that is now that is still on my list. So hoping for it. Should say, fingers crossed I'll get a 2025 finish on it. I keep saying that the last few years. Oh, this is going to be the year for the finish. We'll see if that actually happens. Yeah, so I hope everyone is enjoying all of the December content here on Flosstube. There has been so much with the Flossmas videos and, iterations of the name and all of that kind of stuff. There's so many WIP parades, so definitely loving this time of season when it comes to Flosstube. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the, the content and maybe you want to stick around a little bit. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for all of your continued support. So welcome to both new and returning followers. So yeah, I hope everyone has been enjoying the holidays this time of year. So yesterday was Christmas. It also was the start of Hanukkah. So hope you're enjoying the season. If, and I also recognize that this is also a hard time of the year for a lot of people. So I see you and I give you support as well. So let's dive in, shall we? Because, yeah, I am up to 39 projects that we're going to share today. We're going to see how chatty I'm going to be. If I need to do this as a two-parter type of thing, I may. I actually meant to look and see what my phone storage status was about. End of the year, recently I've been having some phone storage issues and I really don't want this to get cut off. So I do have it evenly, or not evenly, but I have it nicely split so that all of my non-full coverage I'm going to do first, and then I do have a handful of full coverage that I will do last. If I decide to split it into two, it'll be between full coverage and none. But we'll see how things go. I'm hoping to just do this all in one video. We'll see how chatty I get. I do have one project that I'm not going to show today. It's a model. I have been going gangbusters on this thing. It is looking so amazing. I really cannot wait for everyone to see it. It will be a market release. I am stitching it for Michelle Garrett from Bendy Stitchy, and it's such an amazing design, and I really cannot wait for everyone to see it. So I hope it is an amazing seller, and I hope everyone loves it. So so we will not be sharing that today, but that really has been a big focus of mine recently. I didn't really do a whole lot of stitching the past few days. Well, I haven't done any stitching since Saturday, with the exception of a couple hours last night. I've been at my sister's house for a few days for the holiday. Also, my truck broke down the other day, so, been dealing without a vehicle. I did get an update from the mechanic today that it does sound like it's going to be a pretty minor fix. So he's waiting on parts today, so I'm really hoping that I can be able to get that truck back this weekend. So I miss not having my own vehicle. It's not like I've really needed it, but, just... I am a very independent woman, and this is just proving my independence, is the annoyance at not having my own vehicle. Not that I needed to go anywhere. I was at my sister's house. We were getting ready for the holiday and baking and all of that kind of stuff, and the plan was to stay over there kind of anyways, but, I don't know. Just, it's proving my independence and the fact that how weird it is to not have my own vehicle at the moment. So first world problems, I know, and I'm very thankful that it is a relatively minor failure that's happening, but car troubles are never any fun. So when it broke down the other day, you know, definitely raised the stress level a little bit. Luckily, you know, best case scenario though, I was really close to my sister's house, maybe a mile or two up the road. I was able to pull off safely to a road that did not have a very deep ditch, because the road that I was on had a huge ditch, snowy side of the road and all of that kind of stuff. So I really did not want to have to stop on the side of a snowy road with a deep ditch. So I was safely able to get to another spot in case I needed to be towed. Luckily, I was able to drive it back to my sister's house and drive it to the mechanics. Just wanting to make sure that it got taken care of, you know, so that it truly wouldn't turn into a bad case scenario. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? I've talked about wanting to not necessarily be so chatty with all of my projects, and here I'm being chatty about something completely non-stitching related. So, hopefully you'll get a chance to see my black cat stitches. I know so many people love and adore her. She is currently chasing her tail on her cat tree, so hopefully she will make a little bit of appearance. I do want to send love and hugs to Carla at Carla Being Crafty on her recent loss. Completely heartbroken for her. I saw her post on Instagram and then her most recent Flosstube. So we all loved Baggy, and heart goes out to you, Carla. So if you happen to watch this, love and hugs to you, and yeah, just send any love from Michigan. All right, let's get into it, shall we? I do have these chronologically from when I started them. No other reason than that's how my brain works, I guess. I was just organizing all of the WIPs, and it's like, I don't know, that's just kind of easy way for me to do it, I guess. So first WIP, my oldest. This was from a 2017 start. It is in Just Cross Stitch magazine. This wasn't, excuse me, August 2017 issue. I'm pretty sure I started it pretty quickly after it was released, or after I got the magazine. This is what it looks like. It is called Bama Borders. Designed by Banu Demirel of Seba Designs. I say it every time. I have no clue if I'm butchering that name. If I am, I apologize. We are still working across this band, so I really only have, you know, one big and two small bands plus finishing this one out. So I have so many plans in the back of my mind. I am not a planner. When it comes to stitching, I am very much of the sweet wee life. Stitch what you want when you want. But because I am focusing so much on this model, yes, I am stitching on some other things sporadically. Main focus is that model because I've got a very tight deadline on it. I've got about 5 weeks to get this thing done. I'm relatively, I would say I'm right around 50%, but why is it that counted cross stitch is the hardest part about counted cross stitch is the counting? Goodness. Absolutely no faults. Ooh, we got some needle minders going on here. Zero fault of Michelle's. I adore this pattern. It is absolutely nothing to do with her pattern. It is me. It is my counting. There have been times I have frogged so much on this piece that I don't want to stitch frustration into it, that there have been times that I did need to set it aside just to refresh myself. That, you know, there's been parts where I, you know, put the piece down, needle and thread in place, and where I should have gone up, I stitched down, or the other way around kind of thing. While I always make my X's the exact same way in terms of which leg is on the bottom versus which one is on the top, they always lay the right direction. In terms of whether I come up or down a hole, you know, to make that X, it's always different. I don't, you know, subscribe to always coming up in this hole, always going down, you know, but I do make my X's the exact same way. It's just the up and down part of it. So there's been times that I've gone the wrong direction kind of thing where my needle was already at. There have been miscounting errors. Again, counted cross stitch. Why is counting so hard? But again, where was I even going with all of that? Oh, because I've been focusing on that piece so much, there has been project, obviously I'm not focusing on other projects. I got all of my stuff together, getting ready for the parade. And I had come across a piece, oh, I really want to work on this. I cannot wait to get back to this piece. I can't wait to get back to that piece. Can't wait to work on this one. I want to finish this piece. So I got plans in the back of my mind of what I want to do next year. I've got one full coverage design that I want to, I have a focus on a finish plan. The way I've been the last couple of years, I pick up that full coverage piece at the beginning of the year and I just go ham. 2 years ago, I finished in April. This currently, so 2023, I finished one in April with the focus to finish sometime through the year. 2024, I finished in May. This next piece, and I'll show it to you later on, it's got a long way to go. I do not expect a, first half of the year kind of finish type of thing, but the way I go ham on these pieces, it's entirely possible. But beyond that, there's full coverage pieces that I haven't touched. There's other pieces that I want to see to a finish. So I want to kind of start figuring out ways to incorporate some other things once that model gets done. Anyways, long story, let's get to the parade. Here we go. So we really do not, so this was a start in 2017. It's on a 16 count white Ada, 2 strands, full cross. Honestly, when I was stitching back in 2017, white Ada, that was what I knew at the time. Now I love my hand-dyed Adas. I have such a good collection of them. This piece, honestly, I probably wouldn't even have put on anything besides white anyways because of the colors. I am doing called for DMC. It is charted in an overdyed. Especially at the time I only had DMC. This does not need to be an overdyed. I wish I could have done a before and after type of thing. I don't do editing all that good. So I'm sure at some point this year I want to say I was up in this band somewhere. So mainly doing all of this band. You can see that I still have a little bit of red to fill in. And then I will have to go in and there's blue to fill in on. This piece, I'm really enjoying doing the black stitches first and then filling in with the red and the blue. So when I did all of the black outline, there's going to be this just single stitched line all the way across to separate that band. I just finished out the black that I had on my needle at that time. I'll do the rest of that when I move on to the next band. So because I really only have got, technically 3 bands and a partial, this is another piece. It needs to see a finish. It really does need. So that is my 2017 project. The next ones, I've got a handful of 2022, and yeah. Love this piece. I see it fairly often from Northern Expression Needleworks. It is the Twisted Rainbow Sampler. Now there are 2 different variations of this. There is a specialty stitch, and there is an all cross stitch piece. I am doing those, just the basic cross stitch one. So no specialty stitches. When I put this down, I still had a thread hanging on it. This Ada is crunchy. I want to say it's, what is it, Witchel? I'm not a fan of Witchel. It is so crunchy. This, because I am doing the standard cross stitch version, I did get it. I bought the PDF. It went into Pattern Keeper perfectly. I am right around, I want to say I was right at 50%. And this green, like all of these colors are all down to 0. So it's, obviously going to be a rainbow effect, but yeah. So I did start on another greenish blue, but otherwise, yeah. I know I worked on it at some point this year, doing a couple of these bands here. All the rest was done in previous years. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count Midnight Gray, I think it is. Like I said, it's Witchel, it's crispy, it's crunchy. Again, another piece I would like to see finished. That was a 2022 New Year, New Start. We got needle minders sticking. Alrighty. Again, another piece that I really would like to see finished in 2025. We'll see if I get to it. In fact, I was looking through all of my notes, and I really don't think I worked on this at all this year. I thought I was working on the fence at some point this year, but I couldn't find it noted anywhere. So this may be the exact same. If you saw my 2020, well, it would have been in my 2023 WIP parade. It looked just the same, I guess. So, Beautiful Things by Lindy Stitches. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count Bestitch Me. I honestly don't remember the fabric. If at any point I don't remember fabrics and you're curious what I'm stitched on, drop me a message and I can look it up. I thought I remembered, but no, I don't. Scroll, maybe? I don't know. So we've got all of the words. Oh, my darling, it's true. Beautiful things have nets and scratches too. And then I got that fence all, not even all done. This fence, whew, it's a bit of a beast. I am doing called for DMC and I believe it's Classic Colorworks. And that's probably really honestly what's been such a trouble about this fence. And you can see a good point of view there. It's an overdyed thread. Again, I don't remember what the thread is. But you can tell that it's, you can see some variation in the colors there. So it definitely is given that, you know, rusted and tarnished look to it. And so because of that, I'm really mainly doing single stitch at a time, just to get the full effects of that color variations. And so I think that's really honestly what's making it such a beast. But there's just a lot of, you know, intricacies to it. And just because, again, we've had this conversation, counting is hard, that I just, you know, focusing on it to make sure that it's, I'm not getting off count anywhere and all of that good stuff. So moving on. So Beautiful Things in this next piece are actually the only two pieces. There's Stitches. Bye, Stitches. She's crazy girl. I honestly thought that there was more projects that I didn't touch this year, but in all reality, my non-full coverage pieces, there's only these two. So the last piece, Beautiful Things, and this one. Otherwise, it's going to be mainly my full coverage that out of the 11, 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 that I never touched this year. So again, plans for 2025, I want to see if I can like actually get some progress on those pieces. Anyways, moving on. This is from a Mill Hill Buttons and Beads. I think it's just, yeah, just sand dollar. Eventually I'd like to make this for my mom. We'll see if we actually get there. Yeah. Pretty sure I was working bottom. Pretty sure that's the direction it goes. Bunch of ecru's, whites, cream. So definitely got a long ways to go. I don't like stitching on perforated paper. So I've got a few of these that maybe next time I'll just stitch them on fabric. We'll see. I do also like the idea of those magnetic frames that I'm seeing out and about in the Flosstube world that holds that perforated paper quite easily. So my next piece is Spring Birds from Cottage Garden Needleworks. This is such a small piece. There's no reason why this thing is not done, besides the fact that I just haven't picked it up. We have a bird and a part of a flower and some birdhouses. So again, this is definitely a piece that I would like to see give a little bit of focus and see if we can actually get it done. This is stitched on a piece of color and cotton. It's a grab bag, so I have no clue what the name of the color is or anything of that nature. I did work on this at some points. I remember stitching the flower, probably some of this. I did do an overdyed conversion of this. It was literally just going through my stash. I have got a pretty old stash at this point. I haven't really added to it a whole lot recently. So I was in Color and Cotton Floss Club years ago, so at least 4 years ago. So I've got a handful of that. literally I went, compared the picture and said I need an orange, a pink, a blue, you know, those kind of things. So I went through, and it is not even a symbol for symbol thing that I converted, because I want to say the blues, so like the rooftop of this one, and then some of these blues, I want to say those were a couple different shades of blue, but I just combined, you know, I've got some variegated threads, so why switch color, you know, have multiple blues or whatever when I can do things of that nature. Yeah, I was thinking I had the wrong blue. So literally it's just a overdyed conversion. Then I went off the picture and said, okay, I need an orange, a blue, purple, not purple, pink, you know, whatever. So there we go. That is my spring birds. Needs to be a finish. You are, I think it's going to be a theme of the day of, I want to see this one finished, because I want to see this one finished. This is out of the Cross Stitch for the Soul by Emma Congdon book. It is, these projects don't have any kind of names to them, but when I write it down, I just usually write down when it rains. So when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. And I have everything above the rainbow finished, so I need to do the when it's dark, look for stars portion of it. It's getting there. I definitely got some good progress on it this year. That rainbow was wild to stitch, because in the booklet that rainbow goes across 4 pages worth of the pattern, so it was a matter of, it's not perfect, but it's done. I am glad it's done. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count color and cotton in Ozark. Finally remembered the name of this fabric, Ozark. And there we go. This has been such a fun piece. I really love Emma Congdon's artwork and all of that. Yeah, definitely want to see this one to a finish. As you can tell, I did not iron a darn thing, and I'm not apologizing for that. Yeah, nobody's got time for having to have every piece. Well, I mean, I know there's people that do, but I would rather stitch on things, pull my projects together, and show them, rather than to spend time ironing on things. Things will get ironed when they, you know, actually get a fully finished and framed or whatever. But yeah, I don't want to iron things just to show on a WIP parade. So this next piece is going into my, I've got notes down here if you're wondering. This is going into my 2023 projects. This was my New Year, New Start for 2023, and I barely have much finished at all. We're not going to say that this needs to be finished in 2025, but I would like to see some progress on it. This is from the Songbird Garden series. It is number 5, Bluebird of Happiness. Love this entire series. This is stitched on a piece of 18 count Picture This Plus. I want to, not Picture This Plus. That just flew off my tongue like, bestitch me and punch, I want to say. So we're just going to, I mean, it's not going to take up this whole piece, but I haven't cut it down. And it's folded quite perfectly to show what I have stitched. There we go. At some point after I picked it up, you know, when I was picking it up earlier this year, I realized that somehow, like, this particular flower is supposed to have like brown details. Not sure what I did, but I filled it all in white. Well, whatever color it is. Off-white something. We were not picking that out when I decided to, or when I found the error with that. It's going to stay a unique flower that way. We're fine with that. So yeah, called for flosses, all that good stuff. It's a mix of DMC and overdyes. It's a mix. So yeah. It was called for on a pink fabric. Yeah, some kind of pink fabric. So I did want to go with that. I was gifted a piece of fabric to use it on. I was going to have next to no borders, so I found a similar pink for my stash. And now we need the iPad. This was started in 2023. I remember there being a hashtag of Stitch for Sage or something of that nature. This is from Night Spirit Studio. We've got Gothic Luna Moth. And this, ooh, what I should do for this one is pick it up and stitch it to a finish on WIP parades while watching WIP parades, because we don't have much to go. So we have the rest of this little portion here and then a chain, and that's going to be it. So honestly, this really should not, it really shouldn't carry over into 2025, but again, model, we'll see if I actually decide to pick something else up. So this has been a fun one to stitch. It is off a little bit somewhere. Not going to point it out where, because like when I was stitching this side, somewhere something got off, so I made sure to make the same error over here just to have it, because it is supposed to be mirrored. Don't even remember now where it was at, but we made it work. I didn't want something to be blatantly outstanding, that, oh, you know, missed a stitch somewhere or whatever. So I figured out where things went wrong and just mirrored the other side. This is on a Bestitch Me. Don't remember the name of the material. Sometimes it clicks, but I don't remember. Again, if you're curious, let me know. What I've been loving about using the Bestitch Me, and you're definitely going to see this later on, whatever size I get from Bestitch Me, because I'm in the Fabric of the Month Club, I've been using a lot of these pieces for smaller designs like this, where, you know, obviously I can fit multiple things on here. And so, again, you'll see that later on where I absolutely, I've got a piece that's got at least 2 projects on it because, you know, again, it's just an easy way to use up the fabric. Okay, what am I looking for here? Lady Halloween. I'm sure we all know what this one looks like, but Jardin Privé, Lady Halloween. This is such a fun piece. I definitely want to get back to it again. That whole, haven't stitched on it in a while, so I want to get back to it, but yeah. So this is stitched on a piece of 16 count in Rainy Day. I have no clue how much it's going to use, but again, I haven't cut it down. So I love this material. So this design is charted to be in 3 different colors. So I think it's a black and 2 shades of gray or something. But I'm kind of doing my own thing on this. And it is to a point where it is a completely on a whim type of thing. It is not a symbol for symbol. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. Let's see if I can turn the light off. That showed up last. Yeah, there we go. I'll turn that light back on in a second. Do you see on the flowers that there's pops of purple? You can really tell. So I am stitching this. We're going to turn that light back on now. In black, so it's 310, and I'm throwing in pops of DMC 154. So I wanted to add some pops of purple, but honestly, in some lights, it really just looks more like it's done in monochromatically with all black. But you can tell, like, so these flowers that have multiple petals, there you go, you can pretty much see it. I'm doing every other kind of thing. And so that's why I'm saying it's not necessarily symbol for symbol, because I want to say this flower is charted in 2 different symbols to do the 2 different grays type of thing. But when I go to another one, it's not the same order of petals being stitched in. So it's not like for like. It's just I'm throwing in the purple. Pretty much I think I'm focusing on adding in flowers being in purple. So we'll see how I go along the rest of that. But it is such a fun piece to stitch. I would love to get back to it, but again, not necessarily for a finish in 25. another, so this is from the Witchy Stitcher, and remember there being a hashtag something for Meg as well. Both Meg and Sage were having some medical issues, so people were banding together to send their support with, you know, focusing on working on their projects, getting people to, you know, buy some PDFs and that kind of thing. So Witchy Stitcher, this is Apothecary Shop. I am not doing it on this neutral color. I am so excited about how this one is looking. Another Bestitch Me that I can't remember the name. Oh, It's a Mystery. That is the name of the piece. It's a Mystery. So it is a Bestitch Me in a color called It's a Mystery. You can tell that there's pops of purple shade, so it's mainly a blue with some pops of purple. Again, not ironed. And there we go. So I have the full border around and I'm, you know, completely done around, and then I started working on a poth. Not even part of the, just a small part of the tea. I remember I was doing this for some kind of like a Facebook challenge or something, that easy monochromatic stitching is good for those kind of challenges. So again, that's as wide as it's going to be, as tall as it's going to be. I just have the inside to do. So I absolutely have, someone running outside. I've got quite a bit of more material to do something else with. So that is my Apothecary Shop. I'm sure everyone has seen by now, but the Cottage Garden Samplings has released the idea of what their next 12-part series is going to be. I guess it's not coming out until, it's not going to start until June of 25, but I can't wait to see what that's going to be. It is going to be another Year in the Woods. I don't know if that's going to be called Year in the Woods, but I know it's based off of In the Woods, and so it's like the Year in the Woods series, but promises of being completely new animals. So this is number, I can't read backwards, number 9. We've got the Woodpecker. I do have the Eagle done. I've got intentions that I want to stitch this entire series. I do own all of the patterns. Well, at the rate that I'm going of not stitching these, we'll see if I ever get to the entire series. But when she, Fanny, was that the name? Released the whole, you know, the whole series. Basically there's 4, it could be stitched seasonally on 4 different pieces of fabric. I got those fabrics from Bestitch Me. So the called for colors are from Picture This Plus, but then Brandy at Bestitch Me did her own line that were supposed to be comparable to the Picture This Plus. So that's the ones that I'm doing this on. So we've got the Woodpecker. Do you think I'd remember Into the Woods maybe? I don't remember the fabrics. Again, if there is anything you want to know with my fabrics, let me know. So we've got a Woodpecker head, partial. So I do, so what I'm eventually going to do, I can't even see this whole thing. So that's on the left. So it should have room for 3 of the, like, would it be fall, I guess? Definitely looks like fall leaves. So, but that's where we're at for now. And I've got a little bit of a Looney Tunes needle minder. Little old lady with Tweety Bird and Sylvester. Another one that I would like to add some more attention to. Still working our way through 2023. Actually, this is my last 2023 project. This is called Fall Black Cat from Stitch and Needs. I had picked this pattern up at a LNS that is no longer open. The owner retired. So I'd never heard of this designer before. Like you know, mentioned having a black cat. She must have decided to go to bed. I'm not seeing her now. All things black cats. all here for. I did end up finding this pattern as a PDF though through Etsy from Stitch and Needs, and because there's a lot of black, there's a lot of orange, and just because the pattern like font size is so small, I was really hoping I could find a PDF pattern, and I did. So this went into Pattern Keeper perfectly. Again, there's no back stitch. It is literally all just full crosses. And so, yeah, it is charted in, partially charted in weeks. At the time, just, there's no need for this one to have overdyes by any means, so I just went with the DMC conversion. I think I must have had to have Googled a conversion, because it does have some DMCs, but like they did not provide me a DMC conversion. I must have just wrote it down. Trying to see the floss tag. Regency. I moved it on me. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count. Picture this plus in Regency. Just my own, what I had in stash. In fact, it's got a UFO'd WIP on the other side of it. I haven't cut it off because it's making it easy to fit into the Q-snap with it on there still. This is probably one of my favorite needle minders. I get 99% of my needle minders from Gina's Unique Boutique on Etsy, or she's got a Facebook group, Unique Needle Minders, Gina's Unique Needle Minders, which I do have some haul of those needle minders, but I figured this is just a WIP parade. Those can save for another regular Flosstube update. So yeah, this year I think I want to say, yeah, I think I did have into the body a little bit. So I've really just been focusing on the body and the pumpkin. Everything above is done, except she will need to get some whiskers put in. We'll get those added in whenever, you know, kind of at the end of the piece, because I'm pretty sure those are going to be long stitches type of thing. So whiskers will be the last thing. But yeah. I started this with Laura from Stitching by the Shore in mind for her Pumpkin B-Day Sal. Again, that was a start in 2023, so it would have been an October start. And now we are into 2020. Yeah. Everything from here on out has been a 2024 new start. Until we get to full, not full coverage. Until we get to full coverage. Sorry, can't talk. Really? I went through this whole thing to make sure that I had screenshots of everything. How do I not have this screenshot? I guess because I was going to go off of this. So this is Grief Knows No Bounds. This was designed from Stitchers for Peace Initiative. Let's see if I can. So there's 5 designers that were part of it. We've got Marumi Designs, who's a very sweet person, by the way. Aya Rosen, Yasmin's Made with Love, Crafty Yams, and Michelle Bendy. So this was is a charity piece that if you donate to a Palestinian relief fund, I don't remember if that was the name of it, or if you go back to any of those designers' Instagram pages, you'll see the details. Donate to a charity, email your receipt to one of the involved designers, and they will mail you the chart, email you. And yeah. So I started this earlier in the year. Again, I've really been wanting to get back to it. I hate what is happening over there. It is beyond sickening. I have no words. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count, but Stitch Me in Ledger. That one I do know. This is just gorgeous. Again, this is really just going to take up half of the piece. How in the world did I stitch? I did that really weird. So the entire border, the outside line is all done, but it's only done in half stitch, around like half of it. It's weird. So we've got the entire box all the way around. And so that way I knew, you know, borders matched. And then starting on that border, which if I remember right, Marumi Crafts, so Miriam did the border basically with the idea of, what is the saying from land? I don't want to butcher it. This is too special of a piece to butcher the name. From land to sea? There's a whole saying that that goes along with Palestine that's representing, I want to say it's from land to sea. And so then I got just the corner, some of the flowers and such done. Yeah. Again, this one I really do need to get back to and just give it some focus because it's so beautiful. There's a poem that they have incorporated all the way around, and it's in different languages. I know I've talked about it before. Let's see. So the verses of the poem are written in Farsi/Persian, Arabic, Hebrew, and English. And so it's got the translation of the whole poem within the chart itself. So the verse itself is, and it was this poem that just absolutely hit home that it needed to be stitched. And I don't want to say hit home, but it's hard hitting. Let's put it that way. It's short. I'm going to read it real quick. Human beings are members of a whole in creation of one essence and soul. If one member is inflicted with pain, other members uneasy will remain. If you have no sympathy for human pain, the name of human you cannot pertain. Whew. The designers involved in this entire project, that just... yeah. Palestine should be free. That is my grief knows no bounds. And again, we really need to get some focus back on this piece. Moving on. This was total start of a total whim of a... I started this on a bit of a whim. Let me put it that way. I was chatting with Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff. We were talking about this particular shop. It's Luthian art on Etsy. I had come across some full coverage designs. Jessie had in mind that she wanted to do some birth flowers for her family, and so I jumped on board and said, yeah, I love this. So my birthday is in July, so I decided to do this. And underneath the smaller words is adventurous and honest. I don't know how much those pertain to me, but we'll run with it. This border is so rich. That's all I have done. I've worked on this like 2 or 3 times since I started it. So the border is charted in 2 different colors, all DMC. And so I've been working across to go through here, and then last time I picked it up or 2, I was adding in some of that. That's just DMC black, the darker, and then whatever shade the DMC other is. Another bestitch me, but I should have looked through my notes to see what all my fabrics were. It's a really pretty shade of blue. Winter, maybe, might be in the name of it. Again, if you are curious of what any of these fabrics are, let me know. Honestly, have no clue if any of these fabrics are even still available. I don't remember how Bestitch Me works in terms of, I have a large selection of the fabric of the month. I've been in there for over 2 years now, I think, at this point, so I've got quite a selection. I don't know in terms of after it's a fabric of the month, do they just go into the regular line and you can order? That's the part I don't remember. So it's gonna be a decent sized piece. I don't remember if that's halfway across or not. This pattern does go into Pattern Keeper quite perfectly as well. I love Pattern Keeper. that has been a fun one to work on. So this next piece, the designer portion of it has me really confused, because I found this on 2 different Etsy shops, and so it makes me wonder which one is maybe the right one. I don't know if maybe they're both, if they're connected in any way, if somebody, because, and I did end up getting both PDFs just to make sure both got the credit for it, because they both have the same like designer, but it was again one of those things of, I'm not sure the legitimacy. Design name is Rainbow Hunter. I ended up getting it from Nara X Stitch, which I've heard other people talk about Nara X Stitch on Etsy, so it was one of those things, and now I don't remember which. I don't know. There was something about it that just made me question a PDF, the same design being showing up on 2 different shops. So take it at your own risk, I guess. I love the design though. It is called Patchwork. I believe is what it just, I think it's just called Patchwork. The colors have got me. They're so pretty. It's just a Zweigert, because it's got the orange line through it. Mystic Gray, maybe? Now I'm suddenly questioning. I ended up having to order a specific piece. I couldn't just use my Stitch Me because I was going to have next to no borders. So I ended up having to get a bit of a bigger piece. Again, if you want to know, drop me a note. It's a pale blue. It's really pretty. But like I said, I think it's called Mystic Gray, even though it's kind of blue. I got the first 2 boxes, or first upper left corner is where I started. So I've got the 3 done and started on the chain of the next one. This is such a fun piece. Each block is its own DMC color. It definitely repeats across, but the whole box is just one shade is what I'm getting at. So this is definitely a fun one. Again, this is one that is great for those Facebook challenges where you just have to keep putting in stitches and such. So it's a fun one though. I love the intricacy of the designs and such. So it's going to be a decent sized piece though. I did cut this down to size, and yeah, it's going to be decent size. This next piece. Oh my goodness. So this was my birthday start. Started this in July. It was right here in front of me this whole time. But I didn't start it on my actual birthday. I started it a few days beforehand. I legit worked on it one day, I think. So this is Courage from OriTM. And I bought the pattern and floss from Forbidden Fiber Co. So the floss colors are Forbidden Fiber Co. It is a black, I don't remember the name of the shade of that, but then there's also pops of like a goldish color through there. So I do have 1 skein of that gold, whatever that floss color is, and then like 7 skeins of the black. And that's our start. Again, this one is definitely very tight on margins. That's why it's, you know, pretty close. This is going to be a big piece. This one's definitely, I want to say I have more room left to right than I do top to bottom. So, pretty sure that's, yeah. It's even still thread on the needle. Another Bestitch Me. I remember this one came in a sea themed box. Do you think I can remember the color name? It's a bright blue though. That's toned down quite a bit. It's a bright blue, but it's literally 1 day's worth of work. To the point where I couldn't even put it on a Q-snap with those margins being so tight. I ended up grabbing a hoop, which is not my favorite way to stitch anymore. I really like those. I really appreciate Q-snaps. So the later bit of the of the year, I kind of have gone on a bit of a, well, we can say a startup-palooza. Random starts. There was one day that I kind of came across that I knew I had a number of I have kitted projects. Whether it had all floss fabric in the pattern, maybe some I had a fabric with, or pattern with the floss pulled, partially kitted. This one I actually bought the whole kit of. So I put them all on pretty close by. I've got a tote bag with all of these like kitted projects. I've got a list in a book where I had them noted down. Just randomly I decided, hey, let's get that started. And so I did want to see this one. I just decided, every so often I've decided to pull out random projects and say, hey, let's get this started. Things aren't going to get stitched if they're not started. Again, this is going to be another project that there was legit one stitching day. Just a little bit of stats. I started the year with 27 projects that included 11 full coverage and 16 non-full coverage. So now I am up to, what did we say at the beginning? 39 overall. So I am at, well, I guess technically I have 40 because there's the model that I'm not showing. So I've got 28, technically 29 including the model, of non-full coverage when I started with 16. And then I am still at 11 full coverage. And that was after UFOing one, finishing one, and then I've started 2 this year. So math is mathing. So yeah, that has been my fun, just randomly deciding, okay, let's start another project. This one is Forbidden Fiber Co's The Raining Loreleis. I did buy this all kitted. So I've got the full, why am I still wanting to say full coverage? I've got the flosses that are also Forbidden Fiber Co. Yeah, I've had this in my stash for quite some time. I don't remember when that was released. And the reason for one day's worth of stitching on it, this one is going to be a very long haul project. This fabric's a little on the stiff side, but it's opal. There you can see the shiny. It's not the stitch, the stiff factor that's causing me to take so long to stitch on it. It's the opal. So it is an 18 count, which I'm good with 18 counts. In fact, my Bestitch Me has been switched to 18 count, but it's the opal. So that is one shade of floss. That is just one. It's the outer border around the umbrella. So this is going to be a project that I can only work on days that are non-headache, that, good lighting, because that's opal. Not my favorite style to stitch on, that's for sure. Alright, keeping this going. Again, this is another one of those random I need to start because I've had it, I've had the flosses pulled for so long that I wanted to get it started. This is Autumn Cats from Owl Forest Embroidery. Yep. This is or was a freebie on their website. I haven't looked lately, but I'm pretty sure that it would still be available. I am doing DMC conversion. There's, I know Autumn, what is this company? Owl Forest. I know their floss packs are so pretty, but we're just doing DMC. Fabric name? I don't remember. And I didn't pull all my notes together to write it all down, but apparently I should have. So again, this one's going to be pretty decently sized. I haven't cut it down, but I don't think it's going to take up the, by all means, because, cat head. Cat is going to take up the bulk of the whole piece, but it's not going to be that big. That body is going to take a while to stitch, though. It's a good thing I have a cone of DMC. So upper left corner, and so that cat head is done. there's no stitch, there's no whiskers or anything. So the cat head is done. And so it's just gonna, yeah. Another Gina's needle minder. Every stitch you make, every skein you take, every strand you break, I'll be watching you. So again, another black cat piece. That's gonna be a fun one. Again, I don't remember the color name, but I know it's Bestitch Me. Okay. Another random start that I just decided one day that, hey, it needed to be stitched. So this was, I got the picture from Michelle Bendy's website just to have this a good screenshot on, you know, digital. But I have a book from Lakeside Needlecraft, I think it is. It's a UK publication, or UK company. The publication I don't think is available anymore. It was like a 2022 book or something. I've had it in my stash a while and finally decided I need to stitch something out of it. So it's Michelle Bendy's Summer Nights. And I did an overdyed floss pull of this. Again, just going by vibes of I needed yellow, a green, you know, that kind of thing. So what I was talking about, this is one example of I'll use like a Bestitch Me fabric and just add a bunch of stuff to it. Just not necessarily going to be finished as one piece, but yeah. So this was a finish, was it a year ago? Witchy Stitcher. It was a haunted house. It was probably called a Stitcher Haunts here. That was a fun one to stitch. I loved that piece. This was a... It was a freebie. It might have been Witchy Stitcher. I honestly don't remember. If you're curious, let me know. I'll look it up. I do know. I've got notes on it. I just don't remember where it's at. This was a Deanna from Darling and Whimsy. I want to say this was a Patreon chart. I don't know that she's ever released it, but that one was a fun one to stitch. And the one that I was showing you, Summer Nights. I have the house done. And then I was starting on the roof. There is a thread hanging on the needle. Yeah, there's still a thread on the needle. I started the roof. That red, oh, it's one of my favorite overdyes. That is a Roxy Flosco. To the point where it is a really, I want to say it was one of the original tags. So it's Leo and Roxy Floss. I want to say it was Very Cranberry was the tag. But I know there's other shades of red and such. So again, I just went through my stash and pulled overdyed flosses for all of those. So that's going to be Michelle Bendy's Summer Nights. It should be a quick stitch if I actually just pick it up and work on it again. This next piece is definitely, it's been calling me. This one has definitely been calling me. So I'm going to have to focus on it again when I don't have a model to focus on. This is Bird Nerd from Boomerang Stitches. This is a freebie. So if you go to Boomerang Stitches, so one of the sisters of the Hathaway Stitchers, Amity. So this is a freebie. It is charted in both Bird Nerd and Bird Herd. I am doing the Nerd version. And again, this is like one, maybe two stitching sessions. And we've got that like middle. I started top middle. Measly start. Again, another Bestitch Me that will absolutely hold. I started, you know, long ways. Apparently the theme of this WIP parade is, what fabric is that stitched on? It's definitely a creamish color. If you want to know, again, please drop me a comment. I would be happy to tell you. I don't know that I'll actually take time to get the description box updated or anything. So if you're curious, please drop a comment. This next piece, this one has been so fun to stitch on, and I had it right where I wanted to be. If you're ever just looking for something new to start, don't forget about your stash, because that's what happened with this one. This is called Astronomer's Gate. It is by, I don't have the name of it. I have the artist name. Oh, the design company name is Whispered by the Wind, and it's called Astronomer's Gate. I totally forgot I had this in my stash. I honestly don't even know where this pattern came from. It could have been something that I came across online, added to a wish list that my mom would have bought me. It is something that she could have bought me, just found it online and said, hey, she might like this. I have some other pieces by this Whispered by the Wind, I think. But I have no clue where this thing came from. So it was one of those things I was flipping through patterns. I don't remember now if I was looking for something specific, but I came across it and it's like, where did this come from? I need to stitch it. So we started it. Again, this was probably another one of those I added to my, you know, kitted list. It could have been one of those things of, I just need to start this now. We have a gate and a moon and 2 crows. So not only did I find this in my stash, but then on the back of the pattern, it had a couple of other, like, also buy type of things. And so I've added a couple other ones to my wish list for, you know, someday kind of things. So that whole top portion of that gate is done. There's back stitched and everything. So, in fact, the 2 crows are back stitched as well. So that whole portion, what you're seeing, is done. It is the top left of the gate itself. Again, another bestitch me. I'm awful about remembering what my fabrics are today. Drop me a message if you want to know. And I apologize that I do not know what fabrics these are stitched on, because I thought that I remembered, but I can't. Okay, another new start that was, I was flipping through this book and I really wanted to start something. So I've, there's a couple in here that I bookmarked that I like made working copies of, things that I really wanted to stitch and, you know, pulled flosses together for and all of that kind of stuff. So another Emma Congdon, cross stitch for the earth this time. I know Laura from Stitching by the Shore is also working on this piece, and I love it. Never underestimate the difference you make. And she is stitching hers on a beautiful green, and I decided to go with a beautiful blue. I don't remember the color name. It's Bestitch Me. So basically this top portion is done. So we have never and some trees. Yeah, that's pretty true. That fabric's showing pretty true to color. So there's some back stitching around all of the letters. I've got that done. Literally, this whole portion is done. I'll be able to move on next. This one has absolutely been calling to me. Not a, you know, not something that I'm necessarily pushing to have a finish in 25, but I saw this one. Actually, I think I saw the book sitting here. It's like, oh, I want to get back to that piece. Again, another Bestitch Me. If I can only remember the color names. Keeping it going with the Cottage Garden samplings, we've got Act 31. I have had this thing kitted with a floss for quite some time. I am using called for flosses that are Gentle Arts. So there's 2, there's Raven and Tin Bucket, and then the rest DMC. This one was a fun one to get started on. This one is on a color in cotton that I don't remember the name of. So we've got the Act 31 and that whole corner done. So it'll, I don't know that it'll necessarily fill up this whole piece, but it's a good size piece. So there is my Act 31. I can't wait to get to that raven. Alrighty, so this one is going to be another one of those, I've got a couple different pieces on one material. I'm ready for something to drink and food. Alrighty, so the screenshot I have of this, I got it from Witch's Garden Crafts Instagram. This was posted 2022 is where the screenshot came from. It is now posted in a Witch's Garden Crafts Facebook group. Again, the name of it's slipping my mind. Again, if you want to know, please drop me a comment. I will let you know. It is a gift chart, freebie chart in that Facebook group. You'll just have to join, and it'll be in the files. So it says, never give away your power. At the time that Witch's Garden was releasing this, basically you had to send a proof that you voted, just send in your I voted sticker, and she emailed it to you. I was stitching this on November 5th with such hopes of different results. We'll leave it at that. So I love the design. I've had the flosses pulled since 2022, and I just never got around to actually stitching it. And I had gotten it started shortly before November 5th, and then basically the bulk of what you're seeing is a result of stitching my feelings. We'll put it that way. So yeah. Again, this is another overdyed floss pull that's, it is not a like for like symbol, to the point of like this orange is, these flowers were called for in like 3 different DMC colors. I've got a color in cotton mandarin, maybe something that has got some beautiful variegations on it, which this camera, it is a very gloomy day here in Michigan. I've got the ring light on, but it's, you can tell it's got some variegation going on there, but it's not showing what it really could look like in person. So I pulled that variegated floss that's, to take place of 3 different oranges here. What I should have done when I started the piece to begin with was to make note of the full, how I was using all of the colors, because there was a bit of some struggle time of, I've got these beautiful colors, but where was I going to put them? And so I struggled a bit. I did finally write it down, hopefully. So I know I've got a overdyed floss that came in a box from a mystery, I don't remember, and I've got some color and cottons and such that keeping the same vibes, keeping the same color scheme, but like Power is going to be stitched in some beautiful overdyes that I want to say those are color and cotton blues. That is just going to be so pretty. So would like to get back to that. But it's definitely a good reminder of, get out and use your voice. I did read something the other day, and it was some random comments of, on a video post or something, that there was a large number of registered voters that just didn't turn out and vote. So, yeah, it's a struggle of where we're at, I guess, of, people could have voted but didn't. Maybe we could have had some different results. Anyways, next piece. And again, this is what I mean by I'm using Bestitch Me's. Oh, I didn't say this was a Bestitch Me. I do know this is in Sand Dollar. If you've been around my channel for a while, Bad Stitch, I did a piece called Neon Cicada, and so I went ahead and cut it out because I fully finished that piece. And so this piece is going to be quite big enough to put quite a few smalls on. So placement of things is really weird just because of, you know, trying to make the most out of the material. So, and again, floss is still hanging. This is a piece called Closely Kept number 3. I gotta look this one up because it's a shame that it's one of those things of it's right there. And I know the designer, I've spoken with her specifically. Shaded Stitchery, Nuri from Shaded Stitch. I knew it was like right there and wearing off my tongue. Shaded Stitchery. Closely Kept number 3. So it's such a pretty design. She did give some history as far as, you know, I want to say it was some Black history motifs that she was basing her designs off of, type of thing. There's a whole story within the pattern. I had purchased some new floss. You can see it's still hanging here from a floss designer. I've got a tag here for another piece from Pirate and Robin. I just went through the website one day, her Etsy shop. I had actually come across that floss dyer on TikTok. She was actually showing that she was dyeing some different colors. I'm like, you've got an Etsy shop? Let's go shopping. And so this is, it's, again, the light. Let's see if we can. The floss is called Belladonna, and it is, oh, there we go. You can tell it's different shades of blue. I didn't pull the actual floss. It's in a bag somewhere. So it goes from light to dark. So some of that, like, so it's some teal, little, I don't even know how to, 996, like 995, DMC 995, 996, that really pretty blue. So again, we can see some of it hanging here. Oh, it's getting all tangled up. We're getting some floss, or like, yeah, there we go. You know, where I didn't fray check or whatever the other fabric, since I had some pieces. So you can tell, I mean, that's one strand. You can tell like that shade right there is getting into some darker. So I did start bottom up because, again, placement of my fabric, it was going to be easier to start bottom up. So this is like, again, just maybe 2 or 3 stitching sessions. Shouldn't take all that long to actually stitch up if I just focus on it long enough. So that is my closely kept from Shaded Stitchery. Alrighty. So this was another Witch's Garden Crafts. She was doing some gift charts right around election time. There was, you know, something for us to stitch our feelings into. Keep your laws off my body. And around it, I can't read it backwards. So, we demand reproductive freedom and bodily autonomy. The piece hit hard, again. And for reasons I'm sure you've been able to pick up, I had to stitch this in blues. Ooh, beautiful design. I love the design. I love the colors, but the green wasn't quite, I wasn't feeling the green, so I switched it to blues. So we got the frame done. So I literally just pulled my DMC, like master DMC floss, and so the design is charted in greens and browns. So I kept the browns as was, but the green was like like a light, medium, and a dark of a green. So I pulled like similar hues in blues of light, medium, dark. So we've got the frame all the way around, and then around the frame around keep your. Another bestitch me. I want to say this one is sand dollar. You can definitely tell some of that variegated. So, in fact, not variegated. Modeling was the word I was looking for. I didn't know what color I wanted to stitch this on, so I just went through my fabric stash, and it was one of those, you know, look through, see what kind of calls to me. As soon as I saw this, I said, yes, this is it. So, very pretty modeling. What I saw was that it had blue. And again, I wanted shades of blue in this, so I found a good corner that had a good bit of that blue modeling in it. So, and we've got a needle poking through the fabric. And so, not only did I need to start this, I need to stitch it in blues, I found a needle minder that I had to put on this. Charlotte's Web. I recently heard that this is on a banned book list. And it had, the reasoning behind it had to deal with the fact that there were talking animals in the story. I have no words for why would we ban a children's book just because it had talking animals. So then it got me to think, you know, looking at other lists of, because I've recently seen some other things of banned children books. The only one that really stands out in my mind was the very young children's book, Goodnight Moon. I remember having the book as a kid. Goodnight Moon was put on a banned list somewhere. I don't think these are necessarily banned, national banned lists, but, you know, one person complained, so it gets put on a banned list because the author on the back side of the cover, you know, they put pictures of the authors on the back side cover, was smoking. Yeah. That was dumb. Okay. So my last non-full coverage, nope, this is not my last one because I do have one more tiny start that I did last night, so almost my last. I have been in a round robin this year with some friends that we decided to do a Carolyn Manning round robin. So last year we were all on a team stitching ink circles round robins. I guess something came up in a Michelle Bendy Zoom, or not Zoom, but filming her Flosstube live or on her Twitch stream, something about possibilities of 2024 doing a Carolyn Manning round robin. Another group decided to keep going with the ink circles, so the four of us still stuck together doing a Carolyn Manning, and we all found pieces that they're perfect mandala style, divide into four, and you know, we're all stitching a piece. I should have had this done by now. I really should have started it before I got my hands on that model, but that didn't happen. So Danielle is aware of this. This is Danielle's piece. She's aware that I haven't finished it yet. But I'll get it to her. And we may be doing another bit of a round robin type of thing, so I may end up just holding this for a little bit. Well, I still gotta finish it. To figure out what I'm sending next, and so I could just do one shipment maybe. Anyways, this is called Night Before Christmas. I almost said nightmare. Night Before Christmas, and this has been it's a very pretty piece. This is stitched on a piece of 14 count Live and Die LA. I don't remember the color name. I was so excited to get my hands on this piece because, oh, that red, the saturation of that's pretty true to color. It is so pretty. It's flimsier than Picture This Plus. I'm not fond of it. I haven't been able to keep it as tight in my Q-snap as much as I want to, and not a fan of it. I have had some of my own personal struggles, again, frog visiting. where I'm stitching at has been across a couple different pages of the pattern too, and so like some of those shaded edges of, you know, overlap, and this has been a fun one. But I finally decided, you know, what I was trying to do was doing some color completing, bouncing all around. That's why you've got something down here. And I was trying to do some color completing. I decided that wasn't working. We need to just focus and move our way down. So I'm pretty sure the page that had like that had the bulk of this, that page should be pretty much done now, if not maybe a couple right in here, but for the most part that page should be done. So I'm just going to work my way down. Excuse me, last too itchy nose. So once I get a little more stitched in, I may be able to do some color completing, but for now we really just needed to focus in one particular area. Excuse me. So yeah, that is my Carolyn Manning round robin night before Christmas. Danielle, I'm so sorry it's not done yet. I will get it completed one of these days, I promise. Oh, and my last piece, this was a start last night. I'm thinking that the Canadian, what do I call it, strike is over now, maybe? I know they're still going to be working on some backlog of that, and everything. I still need to find out if the USPS is accepting postal mail to go to Canada yet. I meant to look on the website and I forgot. But I have a ATC, so artist trading card for the theme of winter that I need to get done. Technically shipping is December 31st. Which, I mean, I still have some time. It's nothing new for me to start the ATCs until, you know, close to the deadline. They're usually pretty quick stitching anyways. If you're unfamiliar with ATCs, artist trading cards, they have to be the size of a playing card, so like 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And so this theme is winter, and so I came across this Darling and Whimsy Designs. This was a Patreon chart. It was a gift chart in like 2020, I think. End of 2019, maybe. So I don't know that it was ever released, but I got it from her Patreon, which I am a member of. So to get it to fit in the 2.5 by 3.5, I'm only going to be able to do the mitten. So I'm not going to, depending on size-wise, maybe I could backstitch in some warm wishes type of thing. But for the most part, we're doing just the mitten. And we are using, again, another of that Pirate and Robin. This is in a floss called Sugar Plum Fairy. I started this last night at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock maybe. We've got part of a mitten. I'm debating at this point to just leave, because it's charted to use like 3865 to fill in on the cuff and in the snowflake itself. At this point, I'm just debating leaving that, the fabric to come through and just using the one floss. This is just a scrap 16 count Ada. I just cut it off from what I had in my stash. It's going to be cut way down from this anyway. So that is my Warm Wishes mitten. We got to get this finished so that we can get it sent out. Alrighty, that is all of my non-full coverage WIPs. Shall we just keep going? We're at 1 hour and 23 now. Let's just keep going. Fingers crossed my phone doesn't just all of a sudden cut off. But I know I did a lot of work with cleaning off my phone, so I should have plenty of space. I did work on this one this year. We are currently at, we are right about 50%. I guess it helps if I can actually show you the picture first, huh? This is my oldest, we're in full coverage now, Mandy. My oldest full coverage piece. This is called Midnight Messenger by, the artwork is Ann Stokes, charted by Heaven and Earth. If I try to say this when I do show it, if you're looking for this on the website, last I knew it's still available. Messenger is spelled Messanger, but Ann Stokes. This was one of those, I saw it, I needed to stitch it, started it pretty much right away. All of my full coverage except for the last one is going to be on 16 count white Ada 2 strands full cross. I did decide to get adventurous and get into an 18 count, but that's going to be the very last one. So I probably won't say it every single time. 16 count 2 strands full cross. Here we are. And like I said, we are just right about 50%. So this year I really didn't work on it a whole lot, but I did get this page finished right in here. That hood, you can tell all of those little wrinkles. That took a lot of confetti, but that one was fun. So I have stopped paying attention to the line markers, but yet I still tend to, like, one page really comfortably sits well in a 16, I'm sorry, in an 11 by 11 Q-snap. And so I tend to just focus on one page, but it makes it easy with Pattern Keeper in the fact that I'm not going to stop at a page break. I am going over, especially because I have found some projects indicating line marks from the way my tension was that you can definitely tell what those page breaks are. But that's why you've got some random stitches down around here and such. When I do work my full coverage, I don't stick to 10 by 10 blocks. Basically, especially because of Pattern Keeper highlighting stitches, I will pick a symbol and basically stitch as far as I can within that Q-snap. You know, I don't want to try to count all the way over here type of thing, but, you know, if we've got a good block of area of one color type of thing, and you'll definitely see that easier illustrated on other projects where I'll stitch where I can fit, you know, take the needle to and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be really cool. There's the wing, there's going to be an owl showing up. I think, you know, head's going to be somewhere around in there. So while this is my oldest, it is not going to be my focus on a finish for 2025. Last couple of years I'm pretty sure I picked out my oldest, maybe, to focus on a finish, but we'll show you my actual one here in a little bit. So I've got I've got 4 of my 11 full coverages that have not seen the light of day this year, and this is one of them. This is called Serenity Lane, again, charted by Heaven and Earth. Artwork is Donna Gelsinger. I am all the way up here in this corner. Not really sure why I didn't work on this piece, just it didn't call to me. I love the artwork. It's so pretty. This is a mini, so it's mini Serenity Lane. So it's going to be decent size, but not giant. And here we go. I want to say that it's just page 1 finished with surrounding confetti galore. The artwork reminds me of that Thomas Kincaid style of artwork, but this is Donna Gelsinger. I want to get back to it at some point. I know, let's see, this is 24, so 2023 at some point. I want to say kind of year-end type of thing. I remember having a wheel that I, you know, didn't know necessarily what full coverage piece I wanted to work on, so let me spin a wheel. And whether it was just kind of work for a while until I got sick of the piece, whether I finished a page, I don't remember. So maybe next year I'll get back to some of that. Let a wheel decide for me for a while. Again, another piece that did not see any light of day this year. This is from Pain Free Craft. It is called Dragonfly Clock. Artwork by Marine Loop. So I love the style of this piece. It is so cool. Kind of a, I know it's somewhere in the labeling of it was steampunk. So. This one doesn't have any labels of regular, large, mini, anything like that, but it is definitely going to be a decent sized piece. I can't even get the whole thing in them. So, I know Pain Free Craft has different size pages than Heaven and Earth. Yep, this is one page and then some. So page 1, working into page 2, probably whatever's down below page 1. Confetti. There's so many color changes in that. But again, you can kind of start to see some illustration of how I stitch in terms of I'll pick a color and kind of stitch wherever the symbol takes me. When I get into pages like this, I tend to, what I like to do a lot of the times when I'm really trying to fill in confetti is I'll focus in one area and, you know, pick a color and stitch what I can within this area, switch threads, fill it in again. Last night, the piece I was working on, I was actually going through I'm really close to another page finish on this other piece. And so I was really focusing on, I'd pick one symbol, go through the rest of the page that I was working on to see if I can fill it in and, you know, just kind of keep going. But again, this piece never saw the light of day, so I really would like to see some more progress being made in it in 25. Oh, so personal life here. Not only did my truck break down this week, thankfully it's not that major of a fix as far as we know. But after being at my sister's for a few days, I came home last night, was ready to just collapse on the couch, wanted to do some stitching. I did have plans of getting to Flosstube, but I wanted to check something on TV. My TV broke. I was so annoyed. Tried the whole resetting it, you know, unplugging for a bit, plugging it back in. Didn't work. When it's normally plugged in and turned off, there's a red light. When I turn it on, there's a blue light. So the blue light was coming on. Normally when you start the TV, you know, turn the TV on, the company logo of the TV shows up and then it'll go to, you know, screen of whatever you've got it on, cable, you know, streaming service or whatever. Black screen. At one point, because it's an older TV, like 6 or 8 years, I think I figured out. So it does have some apps on it. So like the remote has a Netflix app. I pushed the Netflix app. I heard some music for about a minute. So, you know, I could hear something, but never saw the screen change at all. So I ended up, luckily, like when I was gifted the big TV that I have, because before that, I just had a basic 32-inch. It's not a smart TV. This thing is 13 years old. I bought it when I was moving into this apartment. My sister was like, yeah, you need a big TV. I feel bad you've got such a small TV. So, you know, helped gift me this big TV. I never did anything with that old TV. It was still in my bedroom. And so because wanted TV, I ended up pulling that out. It's sitting back. The sound quality, oh my gosh, it's awful. I didn't realize how bad of a TV it was. But I just kind of got to thinking that while this is getting uploaded, I may have to start watching Virgin River or something. Because that new season came out last week and I haven't yet to watch any of it. But I don't want to watch it on this small TV. The sound quality. So we may end up anyways. Anyways, if I don't drop my... I should have just let it go. Oh, goodness. I am clumsy. I was dropping stuff at my sister's house the other day. Oh my gosh. It was awful. Okay, so moving on. Let's try to get this thing done here. I just know there's so many WIP parades and we're already an hour and a half in, so we've still got some time to go. This next piece, this is going to be my focus on a finish. To go back a second, so the Midnight Messenger piece that I was talking about, that is the mini version. I'm at about 50% of that. Serenity Lane, I'm at 13%. That Midnight Messenger was a 21 start. Serenity Lane was a 2022 start. Dragonfly Clock is at a measly 5%. That was also a 2022 start. This next piece is a 2023 start, and I am at about 33%. This is Mini Sea Opal. Artwork is by Elizabeth Welker, again charted by Hayde. This piece is something that I'm stitching for my mom. She's aware of it. She knows about the piece. It's not a secret stitch. She picked it out. I've told this story before. My sister has been had been working on a piece. My mom is a stitcher, has been a stitcher or whatever, kind of gotten away from it. So my sister ended up adopting a piece that my mom had started and finished it. And so I offered the same. And at the same time that I was offering, this piece hit the releases. I didn't want to stitch the regular. The regular size is massive. I'm an Ada stitcher, so even stitching on 16 or 18 count was just going to be insanely. So when it came out in a mini, I offered my mom, I'll either adopt a piece that you've already started or I'll stitch you this. So if you're familiar with the movie from the 90s, Seal Magnolias, where Julia Roberts' colors were, you know, her mom was saying it's pink and pink, and she says, no, my colors are blush and bashful. My mom's colors are blue and teal. So this absolutely called my mom's name. So I started stitching it for her. And I said this is at about 33%. This is the mini version, like I said, so, you know, definitely got a ways to go. This is my focus on a finish for 2024. 5. We are going into 2025. So, I can't even get them. I finished page 5. I believe it's 5 pages across. And so then I have already gone down into the bottom portion, starting back over again. That is not the bottom of a page. So, you know, we're looking at math here. 64% or so? 65? No. 68%, right? 67? There's some decimal points there. So we've got a ways to go. This piece has a total of like 105,000 stitches-ish, I think. So we're looking at, we may be below 70,000 stitches at this point. Doing that math to get it done by the end of the year next year. So like, you know, taking that number divided by 12 was going to be like 6,000 something stitches. To put that into perspective, I don't see this being a problem of being able to do this in a year, even less than that. When I've talked earlier about how I would last year and then this year, I had a focus on a finish and I just went complete ham on these things, those pieces. There were months that I was getting anywhere from 12 to 14,000 stitches in a month. So to do, you know, that 6,000-ish stitches to get it done by December, that's going to be nothing. So again, model, that's got to get done by the end of January. So I don't anticipate really going ham on this in the month of January too much unless I really get that model done, you know, a good bit quicker than the end of the month. This is going to be my focus. So I don't want to say, I'm not going to put a deadline on it of having to get it done in 25, but, you know, I really would like to. My mom needs to have this on her wall. She needs to be able to enjoy it. It's time to get it done. So this was a 2022 start. Nope, this was a 23 start. And, you know, it's time that she gets to enjoy it. So, and when I started it, I told her flat out, it is not going to be something that's, you know, I'm not a monogamous stitcher. I'm not going to just stitch on it at that time and get it done. It's time. We need to get there. So that's going to be my plan for 25. It'll be interesting to see where you know, how quickly I do get it. I don't plan it on being, you know, her birthday is also in July. So at the rate that I was going, you know, we could definitely, I'm not putting any kind of hard deadline, and if it doesn't get done by the end of 25, not the end of the world, but just kind of going off of my habits the last couple of years, that I don't see an issue of 70% of a project being done in 1 year, you know, comparing to what I've done in the past. So, okay, so moving on, this was a 2023 start. This was also a piece that saw zero love in the in 24. I started this in honor of Stitches. I did start this on her gotcha day, I believe. So March 2nd was the day that I adopted her. If that's not stitches, I don't know what is. Lisa Parker is the artist. It was taking me a second to remember who the artist was. Artist Lisa Parker. Again, you can tell it's charted by Haid. I am in this very upper corner up in here. This one is at 3%. A whopping 3%. I am so not very started on this that I have had to take a look at where I'm at in Pattern Keeper to pay attention to make sure that this was what this project even was. Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. I don't think this is even a, it could have been a mini. My notes, I just have it noted as Brush with Magic, but yeah, that's where we're at. A whole lot of 939. I'm sure 310. We've got that corner. I don't think that, yeah, that's far from, that's not even one page. And that's not even close to the bottom of the first page. So, a whopping 3%. Again, let's see if we can try to get some kind of progress in the year of 25. We shall see. My next project, I love this piece. I really would like to have made this my focus on a finish for 25, but I needed to make the smart decision in focusing on my mom's piece. You've definitely seen this year. You've seen it fairly recently because I did get a page finish not all that long ago. This is Mini Which Way, artwork by Molly Anderson, I do believe. Molly Harrison? I do this every time, and I know there are people out there who are screaming the name at me. One of these days I'm going to remember. Again, you can tell it's charted by Heaven and Earth. This was the piece I was working on last night. Mail is here, by the way. Which way we are... Oh, just last night, because again, I was working on it just last night, I hit 50%. So, here's the full thing. Oh, she's looking so good. So, the page I was working on is right around, right in here. And so the page finish, like the page edge, is right around in here somewhere. And so I just have like this little bit to fill in. I can't seem to get it folded bottom. So I really just have a little bit here to finish. If I didn't have that model, I would bust this out this year. We just might. Michelle, I promise you that model is a focus, but I still want to get that page finish. So I adore this piece. Absolutely. And what's funny, and I've talked about this before, if you've been around, full coverage, you absolutely gotta be looking at these things from a distance, especially the mini. So I've seen with the Heaven and Earth Facebook group or something somewhere, I've already talked about I'm not a big supporter of Heaven and Earth anymore, but I'm still gonna stitch the pieces that I have on the go. So we're still stitching these things. So they say that when they take a full-size pattern and they turn it into a mini, that there's about a loss of like 30% of the detail. But I didn't think this piece would look all that bad to like lose detail. What's funny is while I was stitching it, again, you've got your Q-snap 2 feet away from your face. She's got tattoos on her arm. It just was looking like blobs to me. While stitching it, it honestly, you're looking at it like that, like that's just blobs. I held it up one time when I got that page finish, and it's like all of a sudden it just goes into focus, and you can see that moon, and there's like some stars around it or something. It's amazing. That sunflower was really fun to stitch. So she's gonna be holding some pumpkins, so we're getting into those pumpkins a little bit. This is such a favorite piece of mine that I really want to be able to focus on it, but I do have some priorities that I'd like to get on. So which way was a 23 start? This next piece is at a whopping 1%. It has not seen the light of day. This was a birthday start in 23. It's not gonna load for me. Really? Okay. I don't know why it's not getting bigger. So we're gonna show it this way. I guess I should have put a warning of if you don't want young kids to see, it's side boob. So it's this piece right here. It is called Companions. Artwork is by Bridget Ashwood. We are in this top corner over here. We're in that confetti area. It's a purple blob. That's not even one page finished. What'd I say? Whopping 1%. This is a regular size. This is a retired chart now that I remember. Bridget Ashwood artwork has been retired. Back of the fabric has something on it. Oh well, that's gonna be stitched over. So it's still kind of rolled up over here from being on the Q-snap. It's a decent size. She's holding a dragon. There might be a couple dragons in there. So literally 1% start of the background. Again, another piece I'd like to get into some progress on it. That is my last full coverage piece that has not seen the light of day though. This next piece. Again, I do this every time I show this piece because I have worked on it this year. I don't remember the artist name of it, but it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful. Look at that beautiful black cat. I love the style of the stained glass look and all of that kind of stuff. Obviously, I've started it with, you know, stitches in mind and everything. Fun fact about this piece, there is not a single stitch of 310 in the entire piece. It's a black cat. There's not a single stitch of black in this piece. It's fun. I like it though. This one I did work on this year, and we are now at 4%. Again, this is gonna be a big one. I see I've got a thread on the needle. It's gonna be a big piece. Ugh. I do know I got one page finished, if not two, because again, Stitch is So Beautiful. Pages are a lot decent size smaller than Heaven and Earth. So we've got the upper left corner, lots of 939 for sure. That's going to be my next cone I'm going to have to purchase, is a 939 cone. But we got that arch starting to go. And so yeah. I'm trying to zigzag into other pages. Again, that's one color. Those not page breaks, but floss. You know, if I were to stitch just to a stopping point and I just left it as one solid line, I've gotten those kind of page breaks in stitched into pieces, and I didn't want that to happen. So this is going down into the next page below, just kind of feathering in a little bit, different styles, just to make sure that it doesn't get into those noticeable line breaks. So this was also a 23 new start, and I mentioned 4%. This next piece, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad it came out into a mini version, because I've seen the full size. Jessie from Jessie Marie is also stitching the full size version of this. And she uses, I think, 25 count. She told me one day, or maybe she mentioned it on a Flosstube, I don't remember. I remember talking about it, so it might have been to me. It could have been on a video. She mentioned her material is the size of her toddler's bed sheet on a 25 count. So if I did it on 16 count, like I did when I started, now I'm trying to use some 18 count, it'd be the size of my full-size bed sheet. We don't have space for a finished piece that big. This is mini version of Haunted House, artwork from Donna Gelsinger. This piece is so cool. And again, I was doing some comparison with that design loss type of thing, that percentage that they talk about. So I was looking at the mock-up. So this is just the artwork from the product listing, but there is also a mock-up version, and it's really not going to be, I don't think it's going to be that bad to, I noticed that like the design of the witch isn't maybe necessarily as clear as it would be on the original, you know, the original size or something like that. But with all that's going on, I don't think the loss of that percentage of the design is gonna, you know, come into play. What I have noticed is what what Jessie has stitched is you can clearly see a leaf in that upper corner. To me, it's kind of more of a blob of orange, not necessarily that leaf look to it, but I'm okay with that. Again, floss hanging. It's going to be, for a mini, it's still going to be a decent size. This one is sitting at 4%, so this is still working on page 1 into page 2. And here is a good example of how I stitch in terms of I pick a color and I stitch to where I can reach it at. I'll pick another color and do that again. So sometimes I'll work on filling in. You know, you can definitely see some of those leaves coming in, but what I like about the regular size is that it really looks like a definition of a leaf, whereas mine's just a little more blobs of orange. But I don't have time, I don't have a lifespan, I don't have space to stitch the full version, especially with me stitching it on a 16 count. So I love that needle minder. Again, it was a Gina's. I love this piece. I have the Christmas variation of it too. I don't know if it's necessarily considered, you know, it's the same style where it's a house decorated for Christmas. No. I don't think I bought the Christmas house. I have the lane. It's like Christmas Lane. It's a like a little shop. There's a snowman. That's the one I have. There is a Christmas house that's really pretty, but I have the Christmas Lane mini version. That's what I have. Thankfully, this next screenshot that I have has the artist name on it. This is another Stitches So Beautiful. I'm pretty sure I bought this one at the same time as the stained glass. I just didn't start them at the same time. Okay, so this is a 2024 start. This is only at 1% as well. So this is called Birdhouse. Artist is by Rosemary Berlin. And again, charted by Stitches So Beautiful. I love those colors. I cannot wait to be able to get to like that cardinal on that. This is still just up in the very upper corner. I did get into page 2 though, and this is how you can see how much smaller the page sizes are. This one's definitely going to be a decent size. I buy my fabric for these full coverages from Amazon. Company Kato, I heard about it from Laura. It is some stiff Aida. Wait until you see this 18 count. It's stiff. So that's that upper corner. We got the yellow leaves coming in. We've got a start of an orange leaf showing up. So, and again, this one is still at 1% as well. And again, it's because I had a floss color that I just followed where I could stitch to. So that is my birdhouse. I love the colors of this piece. Y'all, we might actually get this finished in 2 hours. We are on my last piece. A couple years ago, again, Jessie Marie was starting a Jeremiah Kettner that I am now sort of kicking myself in the fact that I didn't buy the pattern when she was starting it because I loved it. Little Wing, I think is the one that's called. It's a little owl. It has got these beautiful like magenta colors that I wish I had gotten that piece when I did. Because Jeremiah Kettner is no longer at Heaven and Earth, who charted that one, but they are now at Thread Geeks. So I bought this pattern earlier this year. A month or two ago, they had a sale of like buy 2 patterns get too free type of thing. So this was the first one that I decided to start out of those 4. So this is called the Witch's Cap. I do kind of wish that it was apostrophe S instead of, I don't know, grammar coming out. But I love it. Again, loving the looks of this black cat. Fun fact, that cat is more blue than it is black, but they're still black, at least in this one. Still gives the essence of a black cat. So those mushrooms are going to be fun to stitch. Those colors are so pretty. But again, I'm in the upper corner. Do y'all know how much purple Jeremiah Kettner puts in those corners? I feel like I saw, like, Jessie had commented about that one time, about how much purple. I could have been dreaming. Again, so this is my 18 count. The one piece that I had an 18 count. I attempted to wash this thing. I'm not even going to try to show how big it is because it's all rolled up. It has a mind of its own. This stuff is stiff. I need to play around with it and keep scrunching it up or something, because I even tried washing it to try to get some of that starch out of it. The only thing I did was shrunk the material. So again, we're in that upper corner. Floss still hanging. I do have a couple of 100, or you know, like the 10 by 10 blocks. I have a couple of those finished. But you can definitely see the definition of the purples. 50 Shades of Purple? I don't even know. And again, a view of how I stitch following a symbol. This one is at 0.46%, not even at 1% done. I was starting this about the time that I knew that model was coming, so this absolutely had to get put down to do the model. So it'll be exciting to get back to this one again, though, too. And that, folks, is my 2024 WIP parade. We did it! So, ending the year with 29 non-full coverage and 11 full coverage. When I started, what did I say? 27 total? Yeah, I started the year at 27 total projects, and now we have more than that. I did decide to completely UFO 2 starts, 2 projects that I had been working on this year. One was I treated it as a full coverage, even though it wasn't technically, so like the Facebook group Full Coverage Fanatics, they have a rule in their group to be considered full coverage. It has to have 95% being covered by stitches. So the one piece that I decided, the one piece that I UFO'd, it wouldn't qualify for that group because there's a lot of uneven, it wouldn't fall into that 95% rule. But I still qualified it as a full coverage piece because it was one of those multi-pages. It just wasn't, you know, corner to corner, square or rectangle type of thing. I just decided it was called Magic Book. It was a random piece I found on Etsy. Pretty sure it was an AI artwork. I just decided it, not only with my stance of AI I've talked about in the past, I'm not happy about it. This piece was just massive and I wasn't happy with it, and we decided to scratch that. The other piece that I did decide to UFO, in fact, I'm pretty sure that material is even gone now. The one that Magic Book one, I'll be able to cut down, at least use it for scrap, you know, other projects or something. Michelle Bendy's You're Okay. I love the piece. I plan to restitch it. In fact, I've kept the flosses pulled because, again, that was another one of my pulling overdyed flosses as a floss conversion. I just didn't like my fabric, and I didn't like, so it was a color and cotton, those grab bag pieces that are like 8 by 12. I started that piece, I don't even know how long ago. I don't know what was going through my head when I started it because I stitched it with 1 strand. I waffle with 1 strand or 2 strand when it comes between 18 and 20 count. So, depending on the dye or whatever, of whether 18, you know, 1 strand or 2 strand. recently I had pulled that piece out and I decided to measure it to see if I could figure out what count it was, because I don't know, you know, grab bags, you don't know counts or fabric names or anything. It's a 16 count, one strand. Why I would start a 16 count with one strand is beyond me. So I plan to restart that at some point. No immediate plans or anything, but I do definitely want to get it restarted. So we'll see. But yeah, I think I've got a page here with how many. I believe I finished 19 overall. A bunch of those were artist trading cards though, that I would have started and finished within a couple of days of each other, if not one sitting type of thing. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 10 of those finishes of the 19 were artist trading cards. So I had a couple of big finishes this year, so I'm happy with those. I finished Dark Goddess, which was a full coverage, and I finished Leela's Studio Halloween Quaker. That was a big piece. So happy to have that one done. Otherwise it's just been some other random, nothing here that was really truly an outstanding long-term piece. So we definitely have some projects here that I would like to get focused on at some point, see if maybe, you know, we can wipe them off of our WIP lists and all that kind of stuff, but we'll see. For now, I've got a model to get focused on. So we have now bypassed that 2-hour mark, so let's go ahead and get this wrapped up. If you've stuck around this long, I really appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Maybe stick around, you know, do the YouTube-y things, like, comment, subscribe if you wish. I don't care. Not that I don't care. I would love for people to stick around, but, so that worded that completely wrong, but I appreciate your support. Go watch your next WIP parade. If you, I know there's been a lot of people sharing their start and finish pictures of what they stitched, you know, how much they stitched while watching WIP parades. Make sure to tag me if you did that before and after pictures. On Instagram, I am at stitchingbee82. So probably should have mentioned that a little earlier, but for now, go watch your next WIP parade. Appreciate your support. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, you know, end of year. It's coming into the new year. I hope the holidays have treated you as best as they could. Hope you're treating yourself kindly. Keep stitching. Stitch what brings you joy. We'll see you again soon.